What if I told you that you could get started podcasting for under $100? You won't believe it until you see it. Welcome to the Libsyn YouTube channel, where we help you get started podcasting, get better at podcasting, and keep podcasting. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel and watch the Under $100 playlist. Hello, my name is Elsie Escobar, and I am the community manager over here at Libsyn, and I am going to show you how you can start your podcast for under $100. I know that you can search for how to podcast on the cheap, or how to find cost-effective podcasting microphones in Google, or ask in all the podcasting Facebook groups. But sometimes you get so many results, you end up either not making any choices or second guessing yourself. I wanted to make it easier for you. When I got started podcasting over 15 years ago, I had my podcast Yoda tell me exactly which microphone to get. And at that time, it was so helpful to just have that thing to do. It saved me time, it saved me resources, and it saved me some cash because I didn't even know if I was going to keep podcasting at that time, if I was going to like podcasting. And it saved me the money to not have to be investing on things that I wasn't going to be using in the future. So I want to be that for you. I got you. So let's go ahead and get started. In the next few minutes, you will get the hardware, the software and apps, plus a little bonus, all of that totaling less than $100. Oh, and a little something there about podcast hosting. Now, if you have a choice for under $100 that we don't talk about in this video, go ahead and drop it in the comment. We'd love to check it out. There are many different types of podcasts out there. 3 of the most common ones that we see here at Libsyn are solo shows, only one person, co-hosted shows with one co-host up to 3 or 4, or an interview show, the host plus the guest. What I suggest here is the minimum that you would need to get started with one of these types of shows. And yes, of course, there are many other types of arrangements to create a podcast. But again, we're giving you the minimum that you would need in order to create a podcast under $100. In other videos in this series, we will address some other suggestions, especially if you find limitations with what we're suggesting in this video. So let's get started with everyone's favorite, the microphone. And my choice for you is the Samsung Q2U. It generally retails for about $69.99, but you can often find it on sale for about $50 or even $40. Now, the Samsung Q2U is a dynamic microphone, so it will work in most situations that you podcast from and still make you sound really, really good. It is very sturdy, so it can take a lot of pounding to it if you drop it or things like that. It also travels really well. It's not super, super heavy. It's not super, super light, but it's not super, super heavy. It's fantastic for that reason. And also, it's one of those microphones that can grow with you. If you happen to invest in an audio interface in the future that really only takes an XLR connector, this microphone will do it for you. In fact, what happens when you buy the Samsung Q2U is that it comes with all kinds of other things. It comes with a little tripod. It comes with a foam ball at the top of it. It comes with a USB cable. It comes with an XLR cable. So it's ready to go right out of the gate. I still have my starter Samsung Q2U, and it's been with me for so many different years. I have used it in the most craziest of circumstances outside, usually where there's like all kinds of cars everywhere. It's been a phenomenal investment from the beginning. You cannot go wrong. Get the Samsung Q2U. And yes, you do need headphones, but they don't have to be expensive. I suggest Apple EarPods with a 3.5 millimeter headphone plug. Currently, they retail for about $14.99. Now, you can hear very well out of them. They are very low profile and light in your ear, so you can have them in your ears for quite a long time, especially when you're editing. I also really love that you can replace them very, very easily. In fact, I tend to have a lot of these in all of my different bags and all of the different studio areas that I have, because I tend to go through them. Not because they break, but because I am horrible with them at times. So get that for you. Great deal, $14.99. The digital audio workstation, otherwise known as a DAW, is where you record, edit, and process your audio. Arguably, one of the most important pieces of your podcasting workflow. The first suggestion that I have is Audacity. Audacity is a free cross-platform open source DAW. It is your Swiss Army knife when starting out. You can get up to speed fairly quickly with a vast amount of video tutorials from the community, and they're easily found on YouTube. The second suggestion is GarageBand. It is Mac only. GarageBand is free and comes built in. It has everything you might need to get started recording audio. And if you happen to have a Mac and you want to know which one of these to choose, I would suggest you choose Audacity. It is more expandable and it has a great user community to support you on your journey. What if you are a co-hosted show or an interview show? I suggest, that beloved Zoom. Here's what it has going for it. Everybody knows how to use it. So your guests are not going to be adverse to understanding how to get on a Zoom call with you. That's what it's going to feel like, a Zoom call. So it's going to take all that pressure off. It also has the ability to record, not only locally to your computer, but also on the cloud. If you absolutely need to do something like that, it can be done for you. And also, it's free. Mind you, you do have to make an under 40-minute show, which for some podcasts is a little bit challenging, but it can be done. So you don't have to invest anything extra with that. Have you ever listened to a show where there is more than one voice talking and one of the voices is louder than the other voice? Or maybe it's the same voice talking, but parts of it, like the intro, is a little louder than the main part of the conversation. Or maybe the music is a little louder than the main part of the conversation. And you find yourself having to turn the volume up and down on your device as you're listening to the podcast. And then all of a sudden it changes and you almost blow your eardrums off because it currently sounds so loud and it wasn't like that before, where we are going to give you a solution to that problem so that you don't do that to your own audience. And it is this nifty little app called Levelator. Levelator is a cross-platform app that serves to level the loudness of your audio so that it all sounds the same for free. Can we get a total investment? We did it! Now, I did tell you that I was going to give you a special tip, but I actually decided to give you two. Now, we all know that audio is incredibly important to podcasting, but surprisingly, so are graphics. Your podcast artwork is a fundamental piece for getting your podcast out into the world. In fact, there are so many directories that you cannot even submit to if you don't have podcast artwork. What if your graphic skills are less than stellar and you really don't know where to start? Well, we have another solution for you, and that is called Canva. And Canva is, again, another platform that you can use to create graphics, and it is free. Canva is a graphic design and creation heaven, giving you so many options to easily create the podcast artwork that you are visioning. And they have a free account to help you get started with that square image that is required for you to start your podcast. Now comes my special bonus extra tip. Now, when you start recording your podcast, you're going to find out that you're going to want a little more. You're going to want maybe a little music at the beginning for like that intro that you have, or maybe you're going to want some music that takes you from one segment to another, or maybe you want to have a little something going on underneath quietly in the background as you narrate something. So there's all kinds of things that you could definitely use to beautify the sound of your show. And, sometimes the whole music thing can become a little bit problematic, especially because you do need licenses, and licenses are not inexpensive. But I have the best solution for you. You need to go check out CCMixter. This was the very first website that I went into to find that very first intro for my very first podcast episode. And I've been using them ever since. You do have to spend a little bit of time searching through things, but it always is worth the time invested. The music at CCMixter has Creative Commons licenses. You can get more details on what those are and if they fit with the type of show that you want by heading over to ccmixter.org. I covered the hardware. I covered the software. I gave you a couple of extra bonus tips there to get you to start your podcast, and we made it 100% under $100. Ooh, a note on podcast hosting. In order for you to publish your episodes and have your audience consume them, you need a podcast host. A podcast host creates an RSS feed for you and helps you distribute your content to all of the podcast apps and directories. That said, most podcast hosting requires a monthly subscription plan, although it doesn't have to break the bank. For example, Libsyn's plans start at $5 a month. You can use the code Elsie to get up to 2 months free. Oh, P.S. Libsyn integrates with Canva. Let's recap what we covered. Get the Samsung Q2U, get the Apple EarPods, go ahead and download Audacity and Levelator, open up an account for Canva and CCMixter, and you're golden. If you're looking for more on podcasting under $100, go ahead and check out that video. And if you have any more insight, any ideas, any tips and tricks when it comes to hardware, software, or anything else, go ahead and drop them in the comments. We would love to see them. And on that note, see you next time.